longevity in running. Do you think you can still run well in your 50s, 60s, or 70s?
Well, know very well that with age you lose muscle mass, and you don't just lose muscle mass, you lose muscle power, and you lose explosiveness. If you've seen the old guys running, they call it the old man shuffle, when
Mm-hmm.
they barely leave the ground, and you look to a 20 something years old running, and it looks like it's floating in the air.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. You don't push on the ground so forcefully.
I have a very special guest today who can probably give you some idea of what you could expect when you are going to be in your 50s or 60s or even 70s. He started running over 25 years ago in his mid-40s without any athletic background, but he achieved incredible results in running. He completed all 7 majors, and right now he's still these days very fast, very strong, and his 5K times are very, very impressive in low 20s, and he's still running very fast marathons. His name is Adrian Grancea, and we are from the same running club called Rockies Road Runners. And I was very, very inspired when I learned about his journey. That's why I wanted to have a conversation with him.
Welcome to the second episode of Believe in Yourself podcast. And today I have a very special guest, an incredible athlete and huge inspiration of mine. And I don't know many athletes who completed 6 world majors, and I definitely know only one person who has done them all 7, because the 7th one, as you know, just was recently added in official status of majors. So ladies and gentlemen, 7-star world marathon finisher, Adrian Grancea. Hi, Adrian. How are you doing today?
Hi, Vlad. Thanks very much for having me, and thank you for the introduction. I'm flattered. Appreciate it. Yeah. So it's been a long journey. But I hope I can inspire others to try to follow.
Absolutely, you will. You look fantastic. And you're turning 70 this year, right?
That's true.
Which is a great milestone, and you show no sign of slowing down. You completed all majors, and with the last one was in Tokyo, and you've been invited to Abbott's Age Group World Championship in 2024 in incredible times, like 3:17 in Tokyo last year.
Wow.
And 3:20 in Sydney. Like, how are you doing this? What's the secret of your longevity?
Well, just to give you a bit of an overview, I don't have an athlete background. So I don't have a younger me to relate to in terms of athletic performances. I started late in the mid 40s, and the running clubs that we are part of, they are joking that I saved my legs for later. So could be, but definitely it's trying to have fun with running, trying to treat it not like a project. Yeah, I have to run a marathon and I have to accomplish this pace or this goal. It's it's a lifestyle, and once it becomes a lifestyle, you treat it very seriously. And this is mainly what I did. A lot of effort and energy into trying to do it right. Take care of your body. And once you go over a certain age, you have to change things, always tweaking, always learning. And this is one of the things that I like about running. You never know when you reach your peak. When is that? It's always time you have a chance to improve, not in terms necessarily of your PB. The personal best days are behind me, but I can still be competitive, or you can still be competitive in your age group, in your goals, and trying to reach certain milestone. So it's never too late to be excited about what the future brings, and if you do it correctly. And I have to admit, you have to have the genes on your side as well.
Sure.
But definitely you have to have a good relationship with your body. Running, it puts a lot of stress in your body, so you have to be very careful.
Totally. So what's happening today, these days, with your racing and training?
Right now I'm I'm training for age group world championship is a Cape Town Marathon. It will be sooner or later the eighth major. So they have this tendency to organize it on future major races. It was in Sydney before it was a major. Now it is in Cape Town. Hopefully, it will be a major after that. It's an incentive for runners to go there. So this is what I'm training for, and is going to be in May. I still have 2 months to go to that, and in the same time, trying to going for a Hyrox World Championship in Sweden, which will be a month after that, and
that's fantastic.
training for strength and for endurance. They don't mix together very well. It's a lot of debate, and what they say that without going into the physiology and everything, this the fact that you cannot improve both in the same time. If you do 2 sessions, one endurance, one strength, you have to leave at least 4 hours between them, because the whole chemistry that is released by your mind in order to build muscles or build mitochondria for running, it's different. So, and they cancel each other.
Well, it's how interesting.
The recommendation is you do either one or the other, not both in the same time, but I don't know how long my body will hold, so I take whatever I can for what's in front of me.
Well, who follows the textbook, right? We all know how it's ideal, but I'm wondering. I think building the body mass should probably help with your running because of your extra strength, right?
That's true. So it especially you know very well that with age you lose muscle mass, and you don't just lose muscle mass, you lose muscle power, and you lose explosiveness. If you've seen the old guys running, they call it the old man shuffle, when they barely leave the ground, and you look to a 20-something years old running, and it looks like it's floating in the air.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. You don't push on the ground so forcefully, and this is something I'm trying to work on, and Hyrox training to build muscle, and not only muscle but muscle power and explosiveness. This is what I was hoping, and I started less than a year ago to do that. It's still a journey. I'm still learning, and hopefully we'll benefit on that. For sure, my knees are thanking me that I put some extra strength exercises.
100%. And I know you for probably over a year. We're belonging to the same running club, Rockies Road Runners, and we do monthly time trials, and I see how you're running. You still do incredible, what is it, 21 per 5 kilometers, 21 minute?
21, 22 there, so I'm trying to stay in that range.
And I see you don't really look like you're shuffling anything close. You're actually running pretty well. This is very inspiring. I think it's helping you.
To be honest, running is the fact that everybody can run, and you don't have to learn how to run. You just take your running shoes, go out and run. Everybody, because you're running when you're a child, you can continue to run as an adult. But the good part, but it's a blessing and a curse in the same time, because running efficiently, it's a different thing, and we lose that over the years because we are sitting in front of a computer, we are slouching, the head stays down, and you don't have the right form. This is what I've discovered. So if you have to learn how to run properly in order to be efficient over a long distance, especially. This is one of the things that I continue to learn how to have the right posture, how to use your hands, how to stay the body posture, the arching your chest, hips position, trailing legs, and all those kind of other things that it helps you, but it has to be instinctive. You cannot think about it for 3 or 4 hours. So that's the hard part.
Kind of a little bit relearning, and I agree
Yes.
totally. However, when you spend less energy on the same motion, then you can run longer, right? You can run faster.
Yeah.
I think this is
Absolutely right. Yeah. So as I said, the fact that running is so easy, it's a blessing and a curse in the same time. So you have to learn to be efficient, and that's a skill.
you're so right on this, on all these points, and I think I can relate. I'm thinking along the same lines.
Yeah.
Frankly, so I got inspiration of running majors from others, but I heard first time about world major age group champions from you. And
Hmm.
that put the seed inside my mind. Now I also want to someday qualify. For me, although I have completely different age group and the
Yeah.
requirements and times
Oh,
that I need to
brutal.
show, like for now
I
seems
know.
unreal. However, yeah, it's what you tell to yourself, right? So you have to
Yeah.
believe in yourself and you can achieve it. And that's my internal mantra.
Yeah.
That's what I tell myself, that I can do it. I believe in it. Someday it's
Absolutely.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure,
No.
for
Yeah.
sure.
It's something to look forward to. I have to tell you something. Going to those age group world championship, you have a VIP treatment. So separate start line. You start 5 minutes after the elite, 5 minutes before the first wave. You have your own finish line with a lot of goodies and
That's
entertainment
very
and so on.
interesting. I
Oh
never
yeah.
heard about
So
this.
and you have a reception before, one after. So it has a
Yeah,
certain
you
vibe.
earn, but frankly, you earn that respect. So this is great that they recognize,
Yeah.
this
Oh
this
well, and also
achievement is incredible.
and also you pay for it. Don't forget that. But
Well,
it's a
running
good
is
it's
free.
a used to be almost, but not anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let us talk a little bit about background. So I
Mhm.
want to go back to way back when you just started
Sure.
running. What inspired you? How did it happen? Your first running experience, and then the idea to run a marathon.
I started by accident because the company I'm still working for, they did participate into YMCA 5K relay. They used to organize it, YMCA, in the early 2000s. People training together, the social aspects and all the bragging rights, and it's very supportive. I run 1K today. Oh, I'm at 2K. And it was very inspiring endeavor. I liked it. I went 1 year, and the next year I read my inspiration, and I did pretty decent time on the first 5K, around 21 minutes without much training. But next year it was again the 5K relay, and after that I listened to what's his name, Peter Manley. It was the Canadian foreign minister, and he participated on the New York Marathon, and it was all over the news. My age, and he said, without running background, and it's one of those things that it was always in my mind, the bucket list, 100 things to do in your lifetime, running a marathon. And I realized that if he can train, he can find the time to train. I don't have any excuse. So I moved from 5K to a marathon in 4 months. Everybody around me said that I'm
Wow.
insane. It was a time with no smartwatches, no GPS, no internet. And I mean, only one website with a program for beginners marathon. I followed that religiously for 4 months, went to the race, did all the mistakes in the book. I was so excited. I wanted to go under 4 hours. And at the half point, I was so enthusiastic, and the adrenaline was on me, rushing all over. I went in an hour and 35.
Wow.
On the second half, I hit the wall and I started walking, and it took me 2 hours to finish. And but anyway, it was a good experience. And the next year, I did a half marathon, and after that, another marathon qualifying for Boston. And
Wow.
Boston at that time in 2005, registration was open in March, and there were 16,000 people. And it was no problem. Once you had the qualifying times, it was still qualifying time, but it wasn't that craziness that is nowadays, where you have all kinds of algorithms, they sort you out. So it was just unbelievable how much the whole sports grew in the meantime. But
Yeah,
that was my first Boston, and still my favorite race.
So the first major was Boston, right?
It wasn't a major at that time. So 2005, I think Abbott took over sponsorship of the majors in 2006. So a year after. So it wasn't a major, but I did Boston after that, and it wasn't a problem. They started with five: Berlin,
majors.
London, New York, Chicago, and Boston. In 2013, after I finished those five, they didn't have a 5-star medal or anything like that. It was just a diploma. They added Tokyo. And once they added Tokyo, they come up with the medal, the big shiny medal, and so on.
So I imagine there were a lot of other local marathon races or some races which are not too far from where you live. So I'm wondering, when did this idea come to go and pursue all the majors, all the marathons which had that status?
Well, after I did a couple of times Toronto and Mississauga Marathon, and it was at that time Scotiabank Marathon, I heard about majors, and it wasn't such a big deal at that point to get into those. I mean, I applied to London 2 times because there is just lottery, and I got in. Right now, if I understand correctly, chances are 1 in 20. So to get into London Marathon. For the rest of them, I had the qualifying time. At that time they have, and I think still they do have guaranteed entries if you do have some faster time to get into. It was available. I said, well, why not? It's combining a bit of sightseeing with those marathons. And I finished in 2013 for the 5. Wasn't such a long journey. I didn't follow it year by year. It was mainly, okay, when is going to be the next vacation? We're going in Europe because I'm running Berlin or London and so on. So
yeah, that's how it's becoming now for me.
Yeah,
I love creating vacations around running. So if there's no
course,
running, it's becoming a little bit, okay, why are we going there? Okay, yeah. And now looking back, what is your favorite or easiest to hardest? How would you rate them?
Well, Boston is my favorite one because of the atmosphere and all the support. But I think I had bad Boston races. The first 4 of them, they were bad ones.
First 4. So how many did you do? How many?
5.
5.
The latest one
marathons.
was I paced myself accordingly. I learned it's very tricky. It's very well. You go downhill, then it looks easy, and there are rolling hills and so on. And after that, the brutal hills and mile 16 and the downhill in the Boston. So it's very tricky in terms of strategy, and I think so.
100%. I'm just right now in the process of training, especially recovering from injury, going to Boston.
Oh boy.
But what I'm trying to practice is exactly that. I modify it a little bit, my treadmill, so that it has downhill.
Yeah, I've
so
seen
I'm
that.
running downhill to practice and get prepared for that.
Yeah, no, I think it's also the mental part. One thing that I learned is the mental training is very important. So you have to have a strategy, you have to have the right mindset. And Boston is tricky with that because you're going to be exhausted. It doesn't matter what you do, but you have to be prepared. You have split it in sections. Okay, I'm here. I'm going to run this. I have to feel like this. If I'm not feeling like this, I'm pushing too hard. I have to slow down a bit. Or if I'm feeling well, I can continue. This kind of small adjustments based on what's coming.
Oh, that's very smart. I never thought about this. But yeah, everybody's breaking down marathon.
Yes, absolutely.
But I like that also relating, okay, how am I supposed to feel and comparing to what I'm actually feeling. I think it's great planning.
I'm big on visualization. Yeah. So I visualize. I spend a lot of time looking to the course, the hills, the uphills, the downhills, the where's the wind predominantly, everything, weather, water station. And I plan accordingly. Okay, I'm going to take a gel at this point. I'm going to drink this, there, and there. So visualizing everything is happened in your mind, it's like you ran it before, even if it's for the first time.
Yeah.
And if you keep your mind at ease, otherwise the alarm bells are going. What are you doing? Are you going to kill yourself? And so on.
Yeah, no, 100%. So this was your favorite now, and from
Yes,
the perspective of easiest to the hardest, what are your thoughts?
I think one of the easiest was for me. It was Berlin because it's flat. The weather was good. You don't have to be at the start line 4 hours ahead and stay, I don't know, an hour on your feet in the corral and like in New York and all those, the other big. So it's the ease of access to the start line and the course. It's flat. The weather was good.
I heard
So
it's
for me,
flat,
it
but some
was,
people say it's a bit boring.
well, I prefer, I'm not a good hill runner. So
Mm.
I struggle a bit with going uphill, but you can break your rhythm. I agree. The monotony is could have an impact, but you can break it saying, okay, at K20, I'm going to run 10 seconds faster. And so you can adjust a bit, you can give or simulate a harder portion of a regular course.
Hmm. And now the hardest one would be?
Well, the hardest one for me in terms of marathon, it was Sydney.
Sydney.
It's hilly. It's hillier than Boston and New York. The weather was horrible. It was like 4 Celsius
So
in
we're
the
talking
morning, freezing.
2024,
2024,
when it
yeah.
was a candidate race.
Yes. So start was 6 a.m. The temperature was 4 degrees, windy, winds 35 kilometers an hour. And it's being a huge downhill at the start, which it's taxing your quads. A lot of rolling hills, some of big ones. The last hill, major hill, was at K40. So it's not very helpful knowing that, oh boy, it's going to be another 25 meters uphill when you can practically see the finish line.
So it's an
But
uphill without any really
well,
downhill.
it's a
Oh, it's
down
down.
before and up after,
Oh,
and a down to the finish.
down
So
to the finish.
you're going 25 meters down, 25 meters up, and another
Asking
30-meter
question
down.
why does it have to be this way?
Well, I understand the desire of the organizer to showcase the attraction. So it's through the botanical garden, but at that point you are so tired that
Yeah,
you can run on the treadmill. You don't care about the sightseeing.
really, yeah. That's feeling
Yeah.
very familiar to me. Yeah. And now, what was your fastest major time?
It was Berlin, and I did my PB there. It was 3 hours and 2 minutes, and I was 57 at that time. So that was my peak year.
57,
I
302.
ran
Wow.
128 half marathon. I ran 39 minutes, 10K. And so I was in the form of my life. So
57.
and
So,
I did.
okay, I have some years. I know that I could.
Well, you already got those milestones, so don't say it.
Well,
I wish to. My biggest desire was to go on the 3 hours. Didn't happen. So, but hey, well.
well, the thing is not about desiring certain times,
Yeah.
but rather have that feeling of that you can still improve, that you
Yeah.
can still get better. Because sometimes people may, oh, I'm 50, this is my pace. It's like 50, what? It's
Yeah.
you're still so much ahead of you.
Definitely.
So, and I am the example, and I'm
Yeah.
still looking forward to improving. I'm so motivated. Did you ever have a coach helping you on any of these?
I did and at various time, not what as serious as I should have been. If you buy a cookie cutter program type, or most of the coaches, encourage you to go to the forum and everybody's saying, I did this, I did that, I was fine, feeling fine, and you share the experience. It's a good community vibe, and it's stimulating. But in terms of coaching, I think the best way, if you are to invest, is to get a one-on-one at least for a couple of months, even
One-on-one.
if, yeah. And even if they just take a video of you and say, and
Coming back to the form.
yes.
Right, yeah.
So this is something that it's more personalized, because if you are to a certain point where say, well, it's a plateau. I run 5, 6 marathon. I'm 1 minute plus or minus. I'm not improving. You have to change something in your form, and a good coach can give you some good advice. And right now there's a lot of emphasis into movement. They don't say I'm a running coach, I'm a movement coach,
Yeah.
because they look to everything, to your day-to-day habits. They give you all kinds of exercises to open your chest, keep your shoulders down, head position, and all those things. There is a famous one, Lawrence van Lingen.
Yes, I'm
He,
following him. He's amazing.
yeah, so you
Flow
know
rope.
very well, flow rope
Yeah.
and going back on the treadmill and all those kind of things. So, and he's right. We lose. There's another guy, British guy, who worked with various athletes, and he has this theory that running is a lost art because of the way we are living right now, sitting in the car, in the subway, at the desk, or slouching in the couch and watching TV. It's not the moment you start running, we bring the bad habits there. And he's talking about how to address those. Those movement coaches, they, in my opinion, it will be the best way to go, because they go to the root of why you're running the way you're running and why you get injured. It's typical, they said, oh, you have a hamstring injury, strengthen your hamstring. Well, it's more than that. Why do you have that? Sensibility there
Yeah.
is an imbalance, and it's all
Imbalance.
this elastic system that our body is surrounded by the fascia and all those joints and so on, that you load them. Anytime you hit the ground, you load this elastic system and you recoil on once you push. How you do it in a proper way, that's something that a good coach can tell you that.
What I'm hearing, it sounds like, because I know what I went through last year. So I'm wondering if you had any injuries where you had to dig deeper and start, getting that understanding. Okay, why is this happening? How to
Yes,
prevent that?
you're absolutely right. I had one in a quarter of a century of running. I was sidelined by once for more than 2 days. And that was after Comrades. And I had knee inflammation. And it was pretty bad. I was in pain even going down the stairs. Went to physio, typical things. You are weak here, weak there. This shoulder is going, it's not aligned with the other. Your head is not in the right position. All this kind of thing. Well, weak meaning relative to what I'm trying to do, not necessarily weak for my age. But if you're trying to run 3 hour plus hours, well, at that point, you better have the right muscle mass. You have to have the right balance. And it's all 1 degree here, 1 degree there. And a good physio can detect those. And the lady gave me some 1 hour exercises. I did them religiously for 5 days a week. And in 6 weeks, I was back into running.
So the 6 weeks was the longest that you were
Yes.
sidelined. Well, you're lucky, but I think that probably tells how prudent you were and how you trained,
Wow.
right? How you approached it.
Yeah, you know what? There's a joke when they say that our age group, my age group, is the attrition age group, because we are becoming more and more bionic. Yeah, you have hips replacement, knee replacements, and this kind of thing. So that's why I'm really careful and assessing all the time how the relationship with your body changes once you get over 60. Yeah, you have to be very careful, listen to your body. Recovery is different. So it's also a mental part that goes into it. So
Hmm.
it's a different approach to running. It's not about how many miles I do, how many
So
tempo runs I.
how well you can recover between one session and
Yes.
the other.
Well, it takes longer with age. You need
Yeah,
more sleep. You have to be aware that if you don't sleep well, it's not necessarily how many hours, it's how well you sleep.
true.
If you don't sleep well, the body cannot recover, and at one point something will break.
I wish there were more people like Lawrence van Lingel around us who could actually look at us and see what's wrong. Because I know that they tell so much value. They see so much value in their videos. However, where do we
Yeah.
find doctors around us who think alike, right? So it's difficult.
No, you're
So it's
absolutely
becoming a
right.
challenge. So tell us about any fun story that comes to your mind during those world majors that happened to you.
Yeah, well, I was trying. I mean, based on my first half marathon time, I should have been. I tried to go in 3 hours and 10 minutes and break that 3 hours and 10 minutes. Well, it. I tried for about almost 9 years. I was fading, starting strong, and fading and hurting, and it was. I said, okay, I will never get under 3 hours and 10 until I went to Chicago Marathon. And it's the same thing. Well, those negative thoughts when you start, I'm going too fast, or I'm too slow, or I don't drink enough, or I don't what I'm going to fade at one point. That is going to hurt, and what I'm going to do. And again, it will be a failure. And until at K5, a lady came from behind. And I learned from experience the ladies are very good in terms of pacing. Men's are all over the place. So this ego and that goes into it. And if somebody is in front of you, you try to stay with them. Doesn't matter if they are way too fast for you. But the ladies are very, not all of them, but most of them, they are very consistent. So I said, okay, they have an expression, you've been checked when a lady flies by you. So I decided to stay with her for a while, and she was so consistent. In my life, I haven't seen such a thing. So in 5K, she didn't deviate more than 7 seconds. 5K,
Mm,
22:05, 22:12. That was it from 5K to 5:10 to 10 to 15, and so on and so on.
good to know.
And it was unbelievable. And at one point, I stopped watching, looking to my watch, and I looked around, and you let your mind wander and just follow her. And I was always 3, 4 steps behind her. And it was so relaxing. I never been so relaxed in my life. And quite of a sudden, at the finish line, I looked at the watch and it was under 3:08. So it was a PB by almost 5 minutes. And I was in control all the time. I wasn't wasted. And I realized at that point that what Jocelyn did for me, and I cannot take her enough, it was such an unbelievable feeling that you can control your mind. If you can control your mind chatter, you are going to be in a much better position to execute a proper race. If you dominate your negative thoughts, so for sure they are going to be there from time to time. Emotions, you cannot eliminate them altogether, but at least you can control it and you can go back to be confident. It's nothing different than on my training. I've been to this, so I expect it to be hard. I know that it's going to hurt. I'm embracing this. It's fine. It's going to be 20 minutes or half an hour or last hour or whatever it is. And have to stay focused and so on. So
So
it helped a lot.
from the kilometer 5, you were just following her.
Yes. Yeah, it
Wow.
was incredible. Well, at K35, she was fading, and I said, okay, it's my time to try to pace you. She said, go ahead. It was a bit too much for her that day. And I waited for the finish, but it was unbelievable.
So
And
she understood. She realized
yeah,
that you were behind and
yeah,
you
yeah,
were
no,
kind of
she knew
becoming.
about that because it was another guy who came and they were younger and they start chatting and I was just I mentioned
Chatting.
to her that I'm trying to stay with her just to use her as a pace bunny, and at one point, if I can help, I would be glad to do that. And I tried for about 2K between 35 and 37,
Hmm.
and it was an amazing experience. I realized how much when they say in a race that they work together, and it's true. It's absolutely true because if you trust the person in front of you, you don't have to look to your watch all the time. You don't have to. You just stay calm, as calm as you possibly can be when your heart rate is 140 or 50 or 60.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Fascinating. Because it's also important to recognize this. I remember my own personal experience, similar when I was trying to be closer to 3 hours, but then all of a sudden, at some point, a group with a 3 hour pacer, and then there's a whole group was kind of catching up with me and then going ahead. I didn't recognize that. So this is the moment where you could have, okay, because I felt it was a little bit too hard already at the moment,
Yeah.
just to keep going at that pace, although recognizing this could have changed the whole experience during that marathon. But I had much less time, though, than you. You had
Yeah.
almost the whole race ahead of you. For me, it was just a half. But still, I kind of felt
Yeah, no,
it was
it is marathon. It's a hard race, and
you always learn
you have to
something every race.
absolutely.
So you mentioned something in passing about Comrades Marathon.
Yeah,
Now, I just want, just for everybody who doesn't know, that is a race in South Africa, right?
correct.
With about 90 kilometers hilly course, 90
Yes,
kilometers.
yeah, yeah. It's an ultra.
It's very prestigious race, and
Correct. Yeah.
you did it. How, like, maybe just a little bit, tell us how it is different to train for this. You
Yeah.
already said the consequences.
Well, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure that it was after that, half a year after that. So it adds up, But it was a big, it's a brutal race, but in the same time, it's amazing. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. But yeah, going back to what Comrades is, it's as you mentioned, South Africa is they consider the most prestigious ultra in the world. For sure, the most popular. It has 16,000, 20,000 participants. So it's a big event. It's running for next year will be 100 years anniversary. It started after World War One when the soldiers returning to South Africa they wanted to do something to commemorate their comrades that didn't make it back, and they wanted something that is difficult enough to make you struggle but not impossible. And they had this race, and it's in South Africa. Nobody's asking you, did you run a marathon? It's all, did you run Comrades? So it's similar here in North America. So when they heard that you are people around you, they say, oh, you are a runner, and they know something about marathon. Did you run Boston? No, there nobody cares how many marathons you run. It's all about Comrades. So, but going back to training, it's um, initially everybody looking into how to train for this. The plan was aligned by an experienced our captain that's an experienced runner, and he did it many times, 8 times at that point. But I also realized that you have to, in order to survive it, you have to change the form and the gait because on a 9 hour run, that was my goal. It's the legs are going to abandon you at one point. So how can you save your legs into that? You're running probably a minute and a half slower than on a marathon, and stride length was shorter. You've changed something in your form, and you change it to save the legs. That's That was the mantra. Save your legs, then don't push. And there are certain ways you use your hands. And there are all kinds of some tricks that you can do it on a steep hills, steep downhills.
And what about nutrition? Because for eight or
Nutrition
nine
was
hours, it's
the less important part, to be
oh,
honest,
was it?
because it's a zone two running. Yeah, so you don't push. You always aerobic. You can digest. You can eat a steak if you want, and you can
So
digest it.
okay,
So
so you were eating solids.
yes, so potatoes, boiled potatoes with salt. That was my go-to snack on the course.
Is that something that somebody's like give legal nuggets and tips? Okay, you eat
Yeah.
potatoes with salt. This is what the
Well, the
best.
idea
Or
is
how did you come up to this? You only read it once.
they offered it. Well, I told you that I'm big on visualization.
Okay.
I looked to every single bit. I think I spent more than 50 hours looking to every single video that I found it, and I
Wow.
learned. I knew every hill, how steep it was, how long it will take, and so on. I knew the course better than people who they run it couple of times. Most of the people, they told me, oh, I know where the start is and where the finish is. But for me, I knew that it was once in a lifetime experience. So I tried to do it properly. And so I knew what they offered. They give you Coke, Coca-Cola, that's how they call it, the red engine. And it's flat. You don't need a CO2 on it. So in terms of drinks, and also they have obviously banana, and other things that are typical for races. But boiled potatoes with salt, because you lose a lot, you perspire a lot. Those were the things that kept me going. And again, because you can digest it, your heart rate is not to the point that there is no blood flowing into your gut. You can still digest solid foods. That was fine.
So you're not really running on gels.
At the beginning, I had 4 gels, but after K40, that was only
You can't
solid
probably
foods.
take them anymore.
No, yeah, it's too much. So you need salty things and so on. And they had other things on the course, but I didn't try them. Their equivalent to the Gatorade was something that I didn't enjoy it, so I didn't use it. But again, for the comrades, the biggest problem is to try to change your form and the gait, the way you are running, in order to save the legs. And nutrition was the less important part, because
Mhm.
you can walk, even if you want, you can walk to the station and
Yeah.
eat something. So it wasn't an issue.
And the time is also quite important to be within the certain.
Well, there is a
There's a
cutoff,
time
but
limit cutoffs,
yeah,
right?
there's a cutoff, but it's 12 hours. So you have to run 8 minutes pace or something like that per kilometer, which is a bit of a walk jog
Okay.
if you
Okay,
want.
so it's
So
manageable.
yeah, it's manageable. Unless you still have to train, because at one point your joints will complain about it. So
And
uh,
how was the training different compared to the training to a marathon?
the training, it was so we did around the bay. That was the first over 40 kilometers run. So we tried to have
So
three of them.
just for those who don't know, so Around the Bay is a very popular race here in Ontario. It's a 30-kilometer race, and it happens usually about 3 weeks before Boston. In that
Yeah,
time, like end of March, maybe third week of March. However, this year they changed it a bit.
they changed it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's 30 kilometers, very popular. Okay.
Yes. So that was the first long run, ultra long run, because we ran 21K before. We went to the start line and we ran the 30K. So it was a 51 kilometers
Uh-huh.
run. That was the first one, and I lost the quads were gone by the hilly part of the around the bay. The last 10K, I couldn't go downhill. I had to jog downhill. I prefer the uphills, and I realized that I have to change something. And I did that 2 weeks after we ran Boston, which I paced myself correctly. And after the Boston, we did Toronto Marathon, and we ran another 21K before that. So it was a 63K run, and that was it.
When is the Comrades happening?
Comrades is in June.
In June, middle of the year.
Mid June, because it's the winter time on the other side of the wall. We did we concentrated all those long runs in a 6 weeks period of time, and it was a slow build up to that point. And those 6 weeks, we did every single weekend was at least 30K long run, and we did a 51 marathon and a 62. So it was mainly time on your feet. So, and the mental, you have to, I mean, how much can you take it running 8 hours, 9 hours? It's daunting. So it learns you. Toronto Marathon was 6 hours on your feet.
Right.
With,
it's taxing.
It's taxing mentally too. But it was a good training, and once you get into the Comrades, because it's so well organized, the atmosphere, it's amazing. It's an amazing race. So.
What age were you?
I was 66 at that time. It was 3 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, 3 years ago.
Yeah. So it
That's
was
incredible. When I'm hearing this, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You were talking about things that applies for me today, and I'm so much younger. And like, okay, you did it in 66.
Well, you have time.
Incredible.
You have time to go to that. It's I recommend it to everybody who can have the desire. It's an excellent race. I loved it.
Wow, that's amazing. That's been so inspirational. Just some closing thoughts. You are training for Cape Town and Hyrox. So what after Cape Town? Do you still have hunger for more? What's next after Cape Town? What's next for Adrian?
I'm keeping an eye on Shanghai Marathon. They passed the first qualification for a major, and the next it will be 2027. They are hoping to be a major by that time. So there is another race in December this year, and if everything goes well, there will be a major next time. And once you get to the right? Once you get to, they have 9 majors, they will create a new type of medal. So something to, keep you going.
Okay, so that's just to keep you hunger.
Yeah, exactly, to keep you motivated. Yeah, but I'm still learning, and I'm still trying to do more on the Hyrox part. I love it. It's an excellent sport. I recommend it to everybody.
Yeah, no, I'm very impressed because last year you won your age group, and you also qualified for a world championship in Hyrox.
Well, to be honest, there are not too many. There are not too many people my age doing it. So it's just out of 1,800 men, there were 8 men on my age group. That tells you how demanding it is.
But that means, out of those 8, you had the courage, and you can't really say very little about this. It's very incredible achievement. Yeah. We and our Rockies group, everybody is a huge awe. Like it's huge respect for you doing this. And for people who believe it that in 60s and 70s it's too late to pursue these athletic goals, so what would you say to them?
Well, it's never too late. You have to calibrate your aspiration. You're not going to do a PR or be extremely competitive compared with the youngest group, but what you can get out of it is a lot of energy. So for me, running with you and the rest in the club, it's I borrow from your energy, and being around you makes you feel alive, and the community aspect of the running is very important. If you start late, you change your relationship with running. It's not, again, I mentioned, it's not about how many miles, what kind of time you get. It's more in tune with what your body can do, and you are more grateful that you can still do it. And you have to, it's not necessarily a physical challenge anymore. It's a mental triumph. So if you start in your 60s, and there are many examples of people, they start into their late 50s and 60s to run a marathon without any running background, and they did it in 7 or 8 months. It was a typical example. Some lady got a group of 40 people and motivate them to sign up for a training, and in 8 months they ran, I think it was Washington Marathon, doing 10 once. So nothing crazy, but they did it in 5 hours. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They just jog 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and they walk a minute. And
That
you
works.
can do it. So it works.
It's
It's
still
an
it's still a very difficult challenge. Being longer on your
absolutely.
feet,
Oh,
it's harder than maybe run a quicker marathon.
yeah. I
So because
mean, yeah,
I
they.
did I did both last year. I ran like in 2024 I ran for 3 hours, but in 2025 I ran for 4:45 and 5:23 when I was injured with my
Yeah,
son, with my
yeah.
wife, and I know it is equally hard. It is equally hard.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have a lot, and I can tell you, and I've seen this in the ultra in South Africa. People coming at the 12-hour gun time, and you can see the suffering on those. So I mean, they did a jog walk all the time, but 12 hours on your feet, and quite of a sudden you see that they close the gates in front of you. My goodness, it's
That's big
so.
shattering.
So yeah, the fact that you run in 5 hours doesn't mean that you work less than somebody who runs in 3 hours. Absolutely
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Adrian. It's been
Thanks.
fantastic
Yeah.
conversation. I learned so much about this,
Well,
about your experience. I
thanks
got
for
more
having me
inspiration.
again.
I got more inspiration now.
Good luck to you in Boston. Well,
Thank you. And to
all
you
the
in
best.
Cape Town.
Thanks. Looking
Okay.
forward to it.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank
and have a good night.
and you too. Okay.
Bye for
Bye.
now. Take care.